Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. Today I'm gonna try a package that I got a couple of years back. I did use one of the things inside of it, but I never really made a video about it. So here I am today trying to basically do something with it, as in a drawing. This is a package that usually you kind of find them on Amazon, and they kind of have, instruments for calligraphy, basically. Obviously, I don't do that, so I'll be using for something else. But in this package, what usually comes is some sort of a dip pen with some inks and other extras. This one specifically, when I got it, it came with some foam and basically a dip pen feather kind of a pen. And this is the reason why I originally got it. It came with a couple of nibs in here, a regular number 5 nib from an actual fountain pen, a G nib kind of alike that seems to have an actual overfeed, which that could be interesting, and another pointy finger kind of like deep nib. And I always have trouble with these ones. And this nib that I never used before, and I'm curious if it's gonna work out. So what I'm going to be using today is this one. This should be a little bit of a challenge for me because it will force me in one position. I'm not going to be able to hold it by the feather as I work with it. So yeah, anyway, it comes with this. I assume it's brass or something similar to that. Has a regular ferrule at the end where you put your nibs in. It comes with this holder, which has a, I don't know where that comes from. It has a hole at the bottom, so this is not an ink well. It's just to hold it as you put it on the desk, something like this. And I'll put this aside for now. And then it came with a fairly nice glass. Let's not break it. Dip pen. I'll probably use this in one of my future videos. I used one glass dip pen so far, the one that came with from Moonman a couple of weeks back or months back, I don't remember. But I'll come back to this eventually. And always the trick on making sure you put it there. And it comes with a bunch of inks. So we have a red, that seems to be a regular red, no actual glitter in it, which I kind of like. Then we have a purple-ish in here. Again, nothing sparkling in it. A green. A blue. And obviously a black ink. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna use, but since I've been using a lot of the blues lately, I'm gonna stay away from the blue. So I might actually go for one of these, the red, the purple, or the green. I might go for the purple, but that maybe is too close to the blue, so I might just go with those two or one of them. I think I haven't used green in a while, so I might use the green one. But anyway, this is the package. Nothing really special about it. This kind of feels like it was forced in there. Because of it, the package wasn't really closing properly. However, it does have a cutoff in there. They couldn't do a cutoff in there for the actual nib. Oh, and yeah, it comes with this where you put your glass tip nib on it to rest it when you're not using it. So let me decide which ink I want to do. I'll do a quick writing sample with this thing. I'll probably have to clean the nib. I assume there are some oils on it. And then we'll go after the writing sample, if we can manage to do one. We'll go and do a drawing with it. Hopefully that nib will work. I don't know on what paper will work the best, so this should be interesting, I guess. But yeah, it's a nice feather, I guess. A painted feather. That's not a natural feather. I don't think any of the colors are natural, except maybe the green, I guess. I think that might be natural. I don't know. Probably not. With a touch of gold. Anyway, let me, I guess, put this aside. And I'll come back and do a writing sample. Jumping into the writing sample, I decided to go with the green ink only because I haven't used green ink for a while, and at the same time it kind of matches the quill. Now I decided to go with a nib that I have right now because I never really used this nib, so I didn't know what to expect from it, or better said, I never used this style of nib before. It holds ink pretty good. I did make sure to clean it with some isopropyl alcohol so there are no oils on it. And as I was writing, I also realized that you can actually flex the nib a little bit, but not for very long periods of time. I think having an overfeed or underfeed might help a little bit with holding more ink, but I think for what it is adequate. Now for the writing part, no real issues. Ink is a little bit light, but I think it is okay. It gets a little bit darker when you dump a little bit more ink in there, when you flex. I try to do some flexy words in there, but then again, I am not into calligraphy, so my handwriting is not really the best, so I couldn't really highlight how good the nib can actually perform, probably. Not that I would even know if the nib actually can perform too good or very good for calligraphy. If you know more about this stuff, do share your opinion on these nibs and for what they are actually used, or the look and feel of it is just style and nothing else. The challenge though came in when I actually had to do the drawing. On the normal cotton paper that I usually use, it was a little bit challenging because the nib is not tipped and as such it can easily dig into the paper. It felt like I was literally trying to draw with a nail on that paper. So I kind of tried and do two drawings, but the problem was the more I was trying to add layers on top, the more he was digging into the paper, and I was getting like clumps of paper gathering in one spot and kind of ruined the drawing. I even tried to bring a little bit of water brush to try and smooth out things and at the same time spread out the ink a little bit better. That didn't work out very well and I got frustrated. I stopped drawing on the first piece of paper that I had and I went searching for a different notebook, a smaller notebook that I could use to see on what type of paper this nib will work best. And as I was going through it, I realized that I don't really have a good paper for untipped dip pen nibs or anything similar to those. I don't have Bristol paper, like smooth Bristol paper, or so probably that's something that I should get in the future. And I don't really have watercolor paper either, which again, I would assume in a hot pressed cotton paper for watercolor, these nibs might work a little bit better. I don't know. I have to admit I've been a little bit defeated by dip pen nibs. I love them, I like them, but I'm not very proficient with them. I could write with them, but drawing, for whatever reason, I always find it a little bit of a challenge, especially for my style. As such, I think I'm gonna start to try and draw more with dip pen nibs only so I can actually get used to them and get comfortable with them. However, I won't be able to use them on the cotton paper that I usually use because they just don't work. They literally just dig into the page and they just make holes in it, and then again it just makes clumps of paper in one spot as you try to add more layers. I'm gonna try and get some Bristol paper. Hopefully that will work better with these. So do expect me to start using dip pens a little bit more than usual. The other thing that I noticed is, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or this is kind of the quote-unquote feature of dip nibs and how it holds ink. If I do multiple passes, if I do a normal line, that's fine, but if I do multiple lines in the same spot, the ink starts to puddle in one spot, and if the puddle gets to be big enough, as I go with the nib through that puddle again, is like the puddle connects with the ink that it's on the nib and then just literally steals the ink from the nib into that puddle. So literally the ink just dumps on the page. And that was so frustrating. I couldn't get around it. And again, I don't know if it's the ink or if it's me doing something wrong, or maybe it's the type of the nib that just doesn't work with my type of drawing. I don't know, it was frustrating, but this is something that I'm gonna dive deeper into it to figure out what's what. As such, I had to dump the first drawing, but as I was trying to explore the other pages or the other type of notebooks with different type of paper that I have, I allowed quite a lot of time for the first drawing to actually dry completely, and I liked the colors that were coming out of it, especially after using the water brush. So I decided to push through the pain, do another drawing, but this time use a heat gun to actually dry the ink quicker as I do the drawings. Even though, again, when I use water brush, seems to change the chemistry of the page, and then the ink reacts differently, even if it's dry. Even with that in mind, I still wanted to play with the pen and the water brush in order to hopefully get something interesting out of it. In the end, I don't know if I like the drawing that much. Definitely not one of my favorites, but not everything can be good, and I think it's okay to show and highlight these intermediate moments of what you're trying to figure out things, and maybe the drawing doesn't turns out as good as you want it to be, or even if you're not really liking it at all, while it might be a failure by itself, I think in essence it's still a lesson that you learn and something that you can take away from. And that's why I decided to actually finish the drawing, even though maybe it's not one of my best drawings. What I do like about it's actually the green color. This is a beautiful green, even though some might not like it. And it does stain a little bit, and I know at least one person that will be extremely happy about this. I managed eventually to actually clean the brush, so it didn't stain that badly. Anyway, in essence, I do like this thing, dip pen quill style nib holder, I guess. A little bit annoying that I don't have a lot of hand positions to work with it, and one thing that I noticed, if I try and hold it for a little bit higher up, you can actually damage the feather that it's on it, especially if your hand starts to get a little bit sweaty. The feather will actually stick to your hand, so you're kind of forced into one hand position. But I do like them, they're kind of cool, and I'll probably use some more in the future. If not this, I'll definitely try and use more dip pens, especially untipped nibs, and experiment with them more. But I definitely need better paper that is suited for holding up to the abuse over an untipped nib. But first I need to buy the sketchbook, and then I'll come back. I'll definitely come back to this. It's a nice challenge, and since I do like dip pens, maybe I should make the extra effort and learn it a little bit better and be just as good as I am with a fountain pen, or at least as I think I am with a fountain pen. In the end, a little bit of a failure today, a lot of lessons that I learned, and I'm looking forward for the next time to work with a dip pen, and hopefully I'll get better results. Until then, I'll follow up with a couple of fountain pens, and that's it, I guess, for today. I don't want to ramble too much. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being patient with my failure for today, and hopefully we'll do better next time. Wish you nothing but the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.